Meet Sergeant Robert Banks, a proud officer of the law stationed in the thriving metropolis of Rosewood, Kentucky. Population, mostly zombies now. In high school, they called him Rob. That nickname didn't age well when he joined the police academy. You can do the math. Anyway, Banks has a small problem. Society has completely collapsed, the dead are walking, and apparently they don't care much for due process. Turns out, reading zombies their Miranda rights is less effective than you'd hope. Naturally, Banks is determined, using only the finest Facebook group science, that vaccines are to blame. Yes, the vaccines. Of course. Also, he's devastated to learn that he's lost his prized tinfoil hat. The only thing shielding his brainwaves from the evil mind control rays of the 5G towers. Or was it the microwaves? We don't know. Neither does he. Let's follow this shining beacon of law enforcement as he bravely fumbles his way through the end of the world. The first thing our valiant hero does is go into his walk-in cupboard, which of all things contains a machete, which is a very normal thing to have in a cupboard. He then decides to go into his children's room and tear up the clothes they left there. He doesn't see them anyway. Not since his wife left. Whatever, he was always married to the job anyway. As he leaves his house, he's greeted by Mrs. Underwood, owner of the local homeowners association. He never liked her anyway, so he wasn't too displeased to have to test the sharpness of his machete on her undead skull. Walking round the side of his house, two of his other neighbours decided to approach him. I doubt they wanted to catch up, so they met the same fate as Mrs. Underwood. With the apocalypse offering an obvious threat and supplies being very limited, Sergeant Banks decides the logical thing to do is read a book? Sure, why not? As the thin blue line has thinned out to just Robert, he decides it's morally justifiable to break into his next door neighbour's house and go through their wardrobe for clothes. I don't think he's going to be wearing a bra. Checking his corners, he then heads for the bookcase in the living room to acquire some brand new books, like Electrician for Beginners. After leaving through the same method he entered, he's greeted by a further 3 people from that damned homeowners association, and yes, his machete is in fact still sharp, so sharp in fact that he managed to give a second death to 2 of them simultaneously. I just got a double kill. He then decides to sneak up on the zombie guard in the driveway. Okay, I can sneak up on this one. It didn't work. No, I can't. After exploring a little bit more, Banks is thirsty and decides to try and sneak back to his house for water. No, don't tell me he's noticed me. He had. He has. Great. And so is his friend, prompting the question, how are they noticing me? Guarding his driveway are 2 unsuspecting zombies. Armed with a machete, he goes in. Okay, this could be a bit of a challenge, going for 2 at once with just a machete. Don't notice me. Oh, yeah, you both noticed at the same time. That went well, but we got scratched. Injured from heroically fighting off 2 of the countless undead he started to become acquainted with, he bandaged himself up with Little Johnny's shorts. Not really in pain, just need to probably get back and get some water. Once in his house, he decides to finish off the rest of the canned pineapples kindly donated from his next door neighbour. And phase through the cupboards, apparently. Next, he once again decides that the most logical thing to do in an apocalypse is sit down and read a magazine. Afterwards, Robert wants to go out and find a container for some water and decides to sneak by a fence that you can see through. I don't know. Believe it or not, it doesn't take long for him to be noticed, and as the zombies start to approach him, he runs, or at least tries to. A for effort. Getting a little bit hot and bothered, he then decides to Rambo the apocalypse, but without the machine guns. In an attempt to evade the undead now following him, and I mean attempt, he trips over again. Yep, well done. Entering another house, he finds a reason that he's not allowed to see the kids. A nice cold beer. And some actual good food. I see a fresh cooked steak. As well as the whole reason he went on this exploration mission. Okay, I can't lie, this is a pure moment of stupidity on my part. For some reason, I thought the door would also be locked from the inside. I'm definitely not making that mistake again. Oh, didn't think that would open. Then, while sneaking by another house, our hero gets another scare. I genuinely think the jump scare sound makes things a lot scarier than they actually are. After a long day of fighting the woke mind virus, as he calls it, Banks decides to sneak home and get some rest. After waking up at an ungodly hour and running to the kitchen, he decides to look out into the darkness at the woods beside his house. This attracts the attention of a zombie, who seems to have forgot you knock on someone's front door and not on the window with your cranium. I feel as though Robert would have let him in for tea and biscuits if he had been more courteous. Feeling hot again, he decides once more that Ramboing the apocalypse is the only way of doing things and takes his shirt off, before going to the side of the house to do some exterior decorating. These home improvements attract the attention of another zombie who decides that he wants to take a chunk out of Sergeant Banks. This doesn't end well for the zombie. Okay, another moment of stupidity, but I didn't even notice the van key in the living room. I didn't even see that. Now, more normal time in the morning, he decides that he should clean his rags and fill up his water bottle before going to scavenge for more resources. After acquainting myself with how vehicles work in this game, there's a bit of a small problem. Okay, so the car has no fuel. Okay, out of story again. This noise caught me out. What was that? So, Banks obviously dealt with this the only way he knew how, well, that worked, as zombies didn't like having their rights read to them. So, having now survived a day, and to end this video, Robert decides that the only right thing to do is to read a book again. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed. If you did, and you've made it this far, why not leave a like? I've already took up like 8 minutes of your time. I promise next episode will be longer. This video really was just to test out a new style of commentary and video to see if I like it. If you give me feedback on this in the comments, it'd be much appreciated. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye.